For the culture.
Back at it again with the Photo Culture Podcast. We have a special guest today. Great Zach Tate.
How y'all doing, man?
How's life treating you?
Life is treating me how I allow it. There's
Gotcha.
no such thing as a bad day, and every day without a prison tray is a great day.
Amen to that. Amen to that. Even though I don't know what a prison tray feels like
That's
or
a good
looks
thing
like.
for you, brother. Good thing for you.
Okay, you moved out of state. So you get into the bag.
I'm up and down the East Coast, moving about the earth.
Gotcha. All right. Well, I wanted to start with a topic. I know you said you wanted to talk about the state of Black America.
State of Black America. We are in a perpetual crisis, have been in a perpetual crisis for hundreds of years, and it's time for us to come with some real good solutions. You know, it's time to stop talking about it. It's time for us to stop looking for rappers and comedians to be our leaders, start leading ourselves based on how much information is out there. You, at this point, whatever you don't know, you should know how to go find it. So it's time for us to stop feeding into the racism rhetoric and really start holding each other accountable to a degree and having an authoritative base that we can go to and say, what is this? So we just got to create some more. We just got to subscribe to some more Black alliances. Stop trying to mimic other people and handle our own business.
And when you say mimic people, you mean like idols that people call idols, I guess?
No, what we do is we say, well, historically what happens is you have these people who are rich, who have love, who have family, who have agriculture, they have all the resources they need, right? These outsiders come in and convince these people something wrong with the way you live. You're a barbarian, right? You're uncivilized, right?
It's great you said barbarian. I was just watching a Netflix series called Barbarian.
Yeah. So these people are saying, you look strange. Your color turns 8 different colors. Your skin turns 8 different colors. We don't know what you're talking about. Then 100 years go by, these people have colonized these people and tell them, this is the religion you have to follow, this is the way you have to live, and this is how you have to marry, how you have to. And they have what's called now the wealth that they stole. They have the wealth, right? So we look and we see, in modern era, we see the nice cars, the nice houses, they determine what's nice, right? And what we do is we mimic their culture, their lifestyle. We love their clothes, their food. We feel as a sense of status or privilege if we mimic these people. So then they put out these images in the media that we just, from jungles, and we uncivilized. And if you go over to another continent, you know, you're not going to see people, everybody's dirt poor with flies on their face, right? And that's only because we don't identify people from Dubai as Black people, right? They're darker than us. They're in the sun. They lived there their whole life.
Do they identify themselves as that though?
No, but the skin color, and race is race, ethnicity is ethnicity, culture is culture.
Uh-huh.
And that same thing applies to all races, religiosities, cults. It all applies. So what we try to do in the media is they just try to paint this picture and we try to follow the picture because we don't read. We don't want to be educated. We just want to survive. And our substandard living, we feel if we get some privilege, well, then I've arrived. We all guilty of it. I'm looking at 2 Range Rovers today. You know, we all guilty of it, right? Because we want to feel good. We want to feel a sense of status. We want to feel like we have arrived. Although, no matter where we go, no matter what we do, we can't shed our skin color. So let's change the narrative of what it means to have the skin color. Because globally, we're the majority. You just want to go black, white, it's done.
How do we change the narrative?
We change the narrative by the media that we put out, the media that we subscribe to, right? The culture that we subscribe to. the religiosity that we subscribe to. All those factors weave into your personality. They influence you. So, I was talking to my queen about the difference in what I'm being fed on social media. I have to unsubscribe to ignorance, right? I've been stopped subscribing to people fighting because I'm violent, right?
You say fighting, you like boxing and UFC?
No, like they getting it on in Wendy's.
Oh, okay, like they posted on the Shade Room or something like that.
Shade Room or World Star. Is World Star still around?
Yeah, it's still around.
Right. The fact that I don't even know it's still around demonstrates how I removed myself from that. Because I'm violent. For me, when I say that I'm violent, it's like an addict who will always be an addict.
Well, they would say that most men, when they see stuff like that, the testosterone, you get amped up.
Right, but most males ain't ready to pop off every single day.
Oh, so you take it to an extra mile.
I want to pop off every day.
Okay.
Right? And not out of ignorance, not out of a lack of self-control or discipline, but out of trauma, the drama that I've had in my life. And I'm heartbroken. Like 90% of the black males who are in poverty. Matter of fact, I'm going to just blanket it. Because when you see these athletes self-destruct, they're heartbroken. There's no way to explain to white media or to the generalized public that black men are hurting because they are constantly in frustration from the moment they are born. They are constantly in a state of frustration, inadequacy. Imagine that your whole life, but we don't know how to label it. So we just label it as a thug nigga, or he tough, or he bout it, and he lay it down, or our music, our culture demonstrates that we hurt.
Do you think hip hop is helping that?
Hip hop has never helped that. I've said it once, I said it a million times. Hip hop has been the most destructive music in history. And that's why they allow it. Start saying kill crackers. Let's look how quick this shut down. Instead of every time you say the N-word, replace it with cracker. Replace it with devils. Replace it with evil people. Dumb execs gonna be like, yo, what are you talking about? Why now? No, change it to this.
They wouldn't even release it. They're gonna tell her redo the song probably.
Right? So you have an issue with the word anti-Semitism. You have an issue with the word anything perpetuating the killing of anyone else, you shut it down. But y'all could go ahead, keep talking about, I was watching Finesse 2 Times, right? He was released and he had an album release party with Jay Prince and the record label. And this woman who I don't want to label her a Jewish person. However, and we can get into that too. However, her last name sounded like it. And she said with a glass of champagne in her hand, we are looking forward to elevating this label from signing this man. Right?
And that's 2 times?
Yeah. So you could go back in his timeline to when he came home and he signed the contracts, right? And I thought about Lyle Cohen, I thought about all the execs that I know personally, right? Lenny Fitchburg and even Kevin Lyles. And like, man, I built fortunes off of messages, orders, promotion, and motivation, new speeches backed by music to destroy me. Y'all built fortune, billions and billions of dollars y'all made to destroy me. Kill a nigga, drill a nigga, shoot a nigga, put a hole in a nigga head. Nigga, kill nigga, kill nigga, kill nigga, kill nigga. For 30 years. 35 years. And she's celebrating, saying how well they're going to do. So she's going to feed her kids, her grandkids, her great-grandkids off of finesse 2 times, talking about how I'm going to kill a nigga. And he buy a new diamond piece every week, and that's all that's important. Look at me, look at me, look at me. I'm getting all attention. Because attention is the new equity, right?
Yeah.
So
Social media.
it's damaging how it's right in front of our eyes, but we don't subscribe to that, right? I might have 3,000 followers. Don't nobody want to hear no OG talking about optimism.
They're going to think you're a hater.
Or just old. You don't know what he's talking about.
They're going to be like, he's irrelevant.
Yeah, how is he relevant? What is he talking about? He don't apply to me. It can make all the sense in the world.
Yeah.
Right? Like my book 22. Like Life Survival Kid tells you, yo, here go the cheat code in life. If you 19, 20 and you read this, you're going to be a beast by the time you're 30 years old. Learn from what I didn't know 25 years ago. But we don't read. We don't even want to be educated. That's dangerous. Well, we don't want to be educated. Our education is coming from Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, media. You know how much propaganda people put together to just push out there? The earth is flat. Gonna fall off the edge.
Yeah, didn't Kyrie Irving say it was flat?
Yeah, but what if he's right?
I mean, there are scientific facts from scientists that say it's not.
Who scientists paid by who, motivated by who? What makes a scientist a scientist?
They did research.
Me and you are scientists. We are all scientists. Are we accredited as scientists? Is a different story. That's the difference. Are you seen and accredited as a scientist? Not yet. But social media change your tag to the scientist of the culture. And they're going to be like, yo, he's a scientist. In 10 years, they'll be like, he's a scientist. Where you go to school? What research he did? Who funded the research? If I tell you chocolate is good for you because I belong to the Hershey's Corporation and I funded your scientific research, you're not allowed to say chocolate is not bad. I paid for you. I bought you. So we have to be careful when we throw out these titles, terminology. Dude could have been a C student and his whole cheated on every paper. Got his degree out the mail. He's a scientist.
So we shouldn't listen to doctors either, right?
No, what I'm saying is we should subscribe to things that feed us to have a more prosperous life.
Okay.
We should subscribe to things that allow our lives to be better. This is all Life Survival Kid is talking about. Even in your relationship. If your significant other is not making you better, you should leave them. However, everybody don't want to be better because it's too much of a challenge. That means you got to read something. You got to learn something. And we like to be entertained. We like to be distracted.
Not everybody.
Who playing football this Sunday?
Oh, you think football is a distraction?
That's what it's made for, brother.
It is entertainment. It is considered entertainment.
That's what it is. Y'all mad at Jerry Jones for buying niggas to play on the field. Come on. Come on, man. Come on, man.
I'm not gonna lie. At first, I was like, Jerry Jones? And then I was like, you know what? I'm not really that surprised.
What do plantation owners do?
What they do?
They put human beings,
Workers?
into contract to work a field to make them rich. How is the NFL different? What they play on?
Field.
What color are they?
About, I think like 80% or something higher percent black.
How many black owners?
None.
All right then.
Got a couple black coaches.
Come on. Niggas for life. NFL. Come on, man. Be right in front of y'all face and y'all be like, oh my God, it can't be that deep. Because nobody wants to look at beyond the obvious. All right, let's not even read. Nobody read. Just look beyond the obvious, bro.
They said the best way to hide something is right in front of you.
You mean to tell me we can't start our own league? We had this conversation years ago. I laid the whole blueprint out on YouTube.
Jay-Z was trying to buy a team with Jeff Bezos. I'm not Jeff Bezos.
Keep trying.
Amazon CEO.
Oligarchy, you know what that is? Monopolies, you know what that is? Cartels, you know what that is?
Yeah.
That's the NFL, bro. This is a business that's governed by a handful of people, just like the country.
So you don't watch the NFL?
Nah, I couldn't even. Yo, my cigar lounge is full of these dudes, and I don't know who they are. And they all get mad at me because I don't know who they are. You this tall, I know you ain't just big for nothing. You ain't iced out and big and pulled up in that spaceship out there. You must have played some type of ball you was playing with and got rewarded by master. And you come in, and it's like, hey, how you doing? And anybody else sitting there, and you got an NFL ring on.
Championship ring,
probably. I have no idea who you are. Michael Vick, I know who he is. Colin Kaepernick, I know who he is.
Tom Brady, you know who that is.
He could walk right by me. I wouldn't know who he is. I know the legend of Tom Brady from overhearing it. And I'm not mad at them for playing sports. I'm just telling you what it is. Same as hip-hop. Same as sports. Only thing that I could think of differently would be fashion, intellectual property, and industrial and vocational. We don't even teach. You know, I was talking to my daughter, and she told me, "Oh, this is why college, pro college. I never wanted my kids to go to college.
Why is that?
Because high school is unnecessary. It was invented to keep kids off the street. That's what high school was. They started closing farms. Kids was hanging out. They needed something to occupy them. So they program you to come out to be a great worker, right? Because if they were preparing you for real life, you will understand mortgages, you will understand loans, you will understand the points of currency and money, you will understand how to cook an egg, you will understand how to pay rent, you will understand how to, you don't know none of that when you graduate from high school.
So if they were to implement stuff like that.
Right, now we talking. This is where you're seeing Diddy and all these dudes, the new flex, 50 Cent, Diddy, a few of them, their new flex is they have schools. Oprah started off with this, I have a school overseas. But what's the curriculum?
LeBron James, I think it's Iron Man.
Everybody, this is the new flex. Yeah. It's like white guys getting a black woman. It's the new pet. I got a school named after me. And what's the curriculum though, right? So one of my discussions with my daughter, she's telling me all these great things about school. I said, how long you been in school? I'm in my second year and trying to flex on me. I said, man, they still never told you about money and how to pay off your student debt. 2 years you've been in school, you never had a mandatory elective about money. Because that's freedom, right? Once you're in this mindset that you get a degree to trade your time for money so that you can work for 40 years to retire, to trade the rest of your time on a small pension. Come on, man. So I am not an advocate of institutions that teach you to be a dependent. I'm an advocate of institutions that teach you how to get the most out of your occupation. Or better yet, get into an occupation that you absolutely love going to work and it's financially beneficial to you. You know what you love inside. You know what you love. Do it. But we don't get rewarded. We don't reward our teachers. We don't create mandatory. You want to remain a teacher, you have to demonstrate how you are continuing your education while you teach. We don't do those mandates. Everybody's just like, whatever. The poor is going to be poor. The rich is going to be super rich. And as long as we are distracted with entertainment, we will make more billionaires from being entertained. Because you know what entertainment does?
What it does?
It allows us to breathe on the weekend from the suffering we have going to work all week.
Oh, it's you just kind of made a good point there. It's like when people smoke weed.
Smoke weed,
drink,
sniff,
yeah.
smoke.
Right after work, they go straight to do that, and just for a second or a couple hours, they just the pain or whatever they're thinking about work, their life is gone.
Sedated. I have to numb myself from 5 days of suffering. J-O-B, just over broke. I gotta numb myself. I was that guy. I still go to work every day. I hate it, but I'm not numbing myself. I'm working on my business twice as much as I'm gonna give to somebody else. So, I'm not saying nobody have to get a job. I'm saying don't make the job the end all to be all, unless you just a waste product taking up space on earth and you know that about yourself. You know you don't want nothing out of this life. You can't even figure it out, don't want to figure it out, ain't trying to figure it out.
Some people are just okay with that, though.
And I'm okay with how they okay with it. I don't want nobody else burdened. And this is what Life Survival Kid talks about. I don't want your burden. I don't want your weight. I don't want your issues. You want to be suicidal? Goodbye. You might be missed. You want to be homicidal and go to prison, spend the rest of your life? You done heard enough stories to know that you should be avoiding crime. You know what happens when you pick that stick up and run outside. You've seen it. But a lot of people like to be rescued and call it an arrest. So this was going to happen. No problem. Rest in peace to Takeoff.
Well, rest in peace to Takeoff. I'm pretty sure you're aware of the situation. Supposedly somebody in Jay Prince's camp, people are saying.
I don't know the story that I heard. And I was so troubled by his death and didn't even know why. And then I thought about it. Like I've said to you on many occasions, I don't understand how you get rich and then do dumb nigga shit.
Like what? Go play dice in the hood or something?
I don't get it.
A lot of people
like my mindset, and yes, I'm a little more aware. Yes, I've been through a lot more trauma than most people.
But when you his age, you wasn't doing stuff like that. Like but you wasn't rich. I get what you're saying.
I was rich.
Oh, okay. So you would go to the hood and play dice and stuff.
I hustled in the Bronx. I lived way out in Jersey. Right. After night, I didn't engage in certain activities. But you can't use me as an example because my gun go off all the time. So you can't use me as an example.
Yeah, but
right.
His was off guard. Yours, so
right.
Yeah.
So in my era, like things like that happen, right? But in my era, so here's the distinction right here. Let's make it very clear. The distinction is that Takeoff is a legitimate businessman involved in a multi-million dollar brand. Whatever's in his pocket, I don't know his pockets. Brand. As a legitimate businessman who come from poverty, who have seen I live, how I live, where I live, and how I move, he don't profit from the street. I profited from the street. So to a degree, I still got to be involved back then. He has to have no involvement with the street. It is not mandatory.
They don't move like that, though. Like how a CEO should move.
That's the problem.
Or somebody in a corporate office would move.
Or even successful rappers move. Yeah. Name them.
Well, Jay-Z was one. But
you never see Jay-Z. Ever.
Yeah.
I'm talking about when he was only getting the hundreds of thousands.
He had a different mindset, though. He was moving differently.
Right? Ludacris, Jay-Z.
Oh, to our knowledge, we know
50
he wasn't
Cent.
out there.
50 Cent at 25 years in the game, still drive around in bulletproof vehicles.
I heard 28 said that they avoid situations like that by, after a show, he used to tell people, go straight to the hotel. Don't stop, don't do anything. Don't go to no hoods. It's not your city. Go home or go to the hotel room, relax.
Point exactly. And I could name a whole slew. It don't have to be just CEOs. I can name a slew of successful rappers who understand that this is a business. And I found a pocket, and in this pocket, I mean, I could throw a rock and hit a rapper. There's so many rappers. I mean, I'm about to have a rap record out as soon as I find a hard-working producer. I'm about to put a rap record out. Because
anyone can rap now, huh?
If everybody gonna get paid off of trash, my little bit of trash ain't going.
It's not gonna hurt?
Nah. It's that sad. It's that pitiful. Because skills don't matter anymore.
Not everything's trash, though.
Depends on your view of it. I come from the beginning of hip-hop. That's my era. Lyricism, melody, some type of putting together that makes sense. My 17-year-old, soon to be 18-year-old son listens to hip-hop that doesn't rhyme. I don't understand it. But it's not for me to understand. That's his generation. That's his time. That's his music. Rock out. Have fun. Enjoy your life. But to be a multi-millionaire doing dumb nigga shit, the money's supposed to scare you.
That and a whole bunch of check-in stuff. Like people say, oh, you got to check in. If you check in, you're safe.
Yeah, well, it's a different thing with checking in. Checking in is because you always want to be out.
Yeah, but
you ain't got to check in if you don't want to be out.
You don't see Jeff Bezos checking in states when he wants to code.
Jeff Bezos does not make money perpetuating violence directly. Jeff Bezos don't need to check in because he did not generate his wealth from perpetuating violence, dog mentality, gangsterism. It's not how he made his money directly. You understand?
Yeah.
So when you speak a certain language in your music, the perception from the outside is you can live this out. So when Soulja Boy go to the hood and say, we out here, and get punched in his face, it's because you out of pocket. You was young, you was rich, you lucky you ain't get shot in your face, right? So Jeff Bezos don't have to check in. I'm telling you, Big U, this other clown that was with Whack 100, right? These dudes, if you go for it, you go for it. But if I come into LA, they know when people land at the airport, they have scouts, right? Because that's how they make their money. But if I come to the airport and I get in a limo and pull off and go to this hotel and do my show and come out of my show and get into that limo and it's going back to the airport, I don't got to see nobody. When you want to be outside, that's when you need to check in. And to a degree, I respect and support checking.
Why? Because some people say checking in is a setup pretty much, or a way for them to just take money out of your pocket.
No, checking in is saying that I'm willing to spend $20,000 so that we don't lose $1 million brand. You understand? In Takeoff situation, the rumor has it. I wasn't an eyewitness. I don't want to be an eyewitness. I don't want to be involved with the case. The rumor has it is an altercation. Dude pulled this gun and started shooting, and Takeoff walked into the line of fire.
Yeah,
his own people.
He had nothing to do with it. It was Quavo and somebody.
His own people shot the gun and killed him. So the rumor says, I don't know. I don't even care. The whole point is, why you shooting dice in that environment? You could get a hotel suite and shoot dice.
Well,
you can have private parties.
Somewhere famous or known in that area, in that hood.
Why are you there? This is my point.
You're right. You shouldn't be there in the first place.
So now, people watching this are going to be like, oh, you want to say it. If people want to go somewhere, this, that, and never. Let me be clear. Go wherever you want to go. As long as you know that it's fully automatic clips that will lay you down and your whole life will be gone because you want to go where you want to go and think you can do what you want to do or say what you want to say.
But there's people like that live that moves like that. They think since they're big and bad wolf, no one's gonna do that to me. No one's gonna talk to me.
You always see them get laid down or end up in prison and throw the whole brand away because they want to defend something that they ain't even really living out. The most dangerous dudes in this world are quiet.
Yeah, they say those are people you gotta watch out for because they move in silence.
You ever heard of Marquise Clay?
No, who's that?
One of the greatest rappers out right now. He said, there's a line in his record. He said, real killers move in mind silence. And where these niggas reside, you can't even find violence. That shit got my mind wilding. And that's the truth. Because the real killers understand I can spend the rest of my life away based on what I just did.
Marquise Clay or Marcus Clay?
Marcus Clay or Marquise Clay?
Oh.
C-L-A-E.
Oh, A-E.
Right? So they understand
Marquise.
the danger of taking someone else's life. So they don't need to advertise it. They don't need to be around. They don't need to be on the news. Because what good is the whole YSL team right now? What good are they to anybody at this point? You're frozen when you're behind that criminal justice system. I spent 20 years in that system.
Did you hear about what happened though with that case?
Frozen on ice. What happened? Another RICO case coming down for the same RICO case?
The DA used fake paperwork to get Young Thug's record from Hertz.
Okay, well, like I told you from the beginning, they're going to beat that case.
You think that's going to affect the case?
Or they're going to cop out, talk a little bit of time, and Casanova be here in a minute preaching.
YSL, Young Thug might get out.
He should. He ain't really got nothing.
Well, they have a theory, an idea. They just got to connect the dots, I guess.
They just got to find a jury dumb enough that's half asleep, who loves to be entertained, doesn't pay attention.
Well, he has enough money to hire somebody just to make sure.
We talked about that before. They have to hire jury specialists. I wish they would hire me on that case. Yeah. I would love to be able to handle that case. That would be beautiful.
LeBron James.
LeBron James.
Everyone was mad at him for not sticking up for Kyrie Irving. Maybe we should start with Kyrie Irving first.
So you want the watered down version of Kyrie, or you want the truth about Kyrie? Which one?
The truth about Kyrie.
All right, let's go.
Did you watch the movie or the documentary he was talking about?
I refuse to.
Why is that?
Because I come from a place that's called the Nation of Gods and Earths. So I don't need to watch from Hebrews to Negroes, because I understand that if you read my book, We the Blacks, basically what they're saying is what I'm saying in that same book.
So you agree with Kyrie Irving posting that, or reposting that video? So
Kyrie Irving never made an opinion, a comment, or suggested or anything about that.
He just reposted it.
That's all he did.
But people saying since he reposted and put it in his timeline, you are pretty much with it. Or supporting it.
Because people are ignorant. And we are allowing people with fingers and thumbs to dictate what someone else is doing without asking that person.
Well, I heard a Jewish person say,
it's a Jewish person. We need to unpack that.
That the fact that he reposted it, he's bringing all that attention to that film to make people hate Jewish people. And
he never said that.
Well, he didn't say nothing.
How do you know his position wasn't, look how sad they doing to Jewish people? This is sad, black people. We don't know what his position was. We just know that there's some hurt people whose entire life is wrapped around social media because they have never wanted anything in life.
But the people that are talking or mad is Jewish people that are not in social media, most likely. They're CEOs and corporations and pretty much rich people that control a lot of things. The media.
Let's talk about that.
Adam Silver is a Jewish person, the NBA commissioner.
So let's talk about that. Once again, Kyrie Irving never made a statement with that post. What they were supposed to say when that came out is, I wasn't even aware that it would even affect anybody in this way. My apologies. Didn't even know. I didn't advocate this film, and I didn't denounce this film. I just reposted it. And I didn't know that in my private time and in my freedom of expression that I need to explain when I post something without a comment. That's it.
Yeah, but
right?
Hold on. Argument.
Anything else would suggest that everyone else wants to run my life when all I want to do is shut up and dribble. For Kyrie, this, another. I would rather just shut up and dribble. Well, Kyrie, but I just want to shut up and dribble. That's all. What do we have to say about that? How do you attack that? When you start admitting you're wrong, now they start coming in.
Now they give Melissa stuff to say and do.
Ridiculous.
And donate money.
Ridiculous. Ridiculous. Because he has knowledge of self. And what he really want to say is, I don't see life the way I see life. I have advanced lessons and degrees that guide my steps. I'm on a higher frequency than y'all. He can't tell you that. Because that make dumb people feel bad. And I've never, ever in my life, in 53 years, heard somebody say, I'm dumb. I've heard geniuses say, scholars say, super intellectuals say it. Everything I know, I still don't know nothing. I've heard them say that. But they will have all the opinions in the world about what somebody should do when they have accomplished nothing in life.
I've never seen a documentary, so I can't really give you my opinion on it.
In a nutshell, Israel, okay. If you read We the Blacks, I won't have to explain this, but fine. Who was Moses?
Yeah, but you never saw the documentary too, though.
Listen, who was Moses?
Who is Moses? Moses was a person, a man.
Do you know Israel or the history of Israel and Israelites?
Well, were you trying to get to like their originated black people, or?
No, I'm getting to the foundation of what created the Israelites and the nation of Israel.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay? Moses, this is the story according to Torah. Torah is the first 5 books of the Old Testament. Right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. The story is when Pharaoh ordered all the boys to be killed, Moses' mother sent them down the river in a basket, where he's found by Pharaoh's servant. That servant takes the baby to Pharaoh. Pharaoh raises this child as his own. Right? Ramses I, Ramses II. These are pharaohs. These are the kings of kings and them giant Egyptian tombs that make our mansion, estates, and museums look like doghouses. Right? These are hundreds of thousands of people serving them. They're like the viceroy and communicated to God. This is like way beyond loving Jay-Z and Kanye. Moses leaves Pharaoh's so-called oppression, gets a bunch of followers, which is called the tribes of Judah, and they go on a mission to leave. That's when the Red Sea was parted. That's figurative. And they are nomads, which means they have no homeland. They just bounce. But the foundation of them was out of Egypt. When we start talking about the Jews, we have to talk about who we talking about. We talk about ethnicity. We talk about religion, because it's a religious
Yeah, I know.
body. Right? Super black people are Jewish because they come from Egypt and they in Jerusalem. Entire Israel that's there right now, the bedrock it sits on is connected to Africa. The Bible is telling you this. The Torah is telling you this. This is where we came from, and this is where we moved. It's telling you this. So if somebody says from Hebrews, this is where we started out, and we trekked and we separated, and now they came and enslaved us for hundreds of years. It was importing us, bringing us in to work and build nations. And somebody says, we went from Hebrews to Negro. If you don't practice Passover, you have never stepped foot in a synagogue, you trying to tell me you're Jewish? No. There's these people that just use these titles to assist them. Harvey Weinstein, he was a Jew?
I'm not sure.
No, he come from Jewish descent. You're not raping people. What is Jew? Religious, right?
Yeah.
If you from Israel, now that's something different. We're not saying Israelites. We're not saying the people from Israel. Everybody's in an uproar saying anytime you mention Jew, you're anti-Semite.
It looks like he is.
Harvey Weinstein, Epstein, these dudes is not Jews. They're from Jewish descent. Their actions, their activities is not Jewish activities. It is not something that a rabbi would condone. It's not something they themselves would not be able to be embraced by the Jewish community.
So CEO of a rap label, most of them are Jewish. So, or descendants of Jewish.
That's a misnomer. That's a twisted fact. Many of them are Jewish who are employed presidents or ownership of urban music. Many. All ethnic groups. You got Irish in there, you got Polish in there, you got Jewish in there, and you can be Irish, Polish, Black, Jamaican, and still be a Jew. This is where people is bargaining out. They intertwining and they putting on these labels. What type of Jew? You a Jew? What type of Jew? Ashkenazi? What kind of Jew? Tell me the Jew you are. Ethiopian? Ashkenazi? Hebrew Israelite? What denomination? Where you falling into this? But what we do as a society, since we don't know, the main rabbis that follow Kabbalah, Jewish laws, decrees, don't even accept half of these so-called people that's calling themselves Jews. If my son's son never been to Jamaica and run around Florida, New York, Texas, Georgia, talking about, I'm Jamaican, he can say that, right?
Yeah.
It's a lie.
Why is it a lie? He's from descent of Jamaica.
But that's not what they're saying. So they want to label you anti-Semite. Everybody else runs with it. When these same people that's making all this uproar is not even supporting a synagogue. Now, what is the Anti-Defamation League? What is that?
Let's find out.
That's a Jewish organization that was created when Jews were lynched. You heard that? As part of the civil rights era, and I think it was 1930 something, these Jews were snatched up by white Anglo-Saxon Protestants, WASP. These are the people that founded and promoted hated America. Grabbed these Jewish men because they were practicing Jews. Grabbed them, lynched them, and had a whole barbecue and celebration. The same way they did us every other day. The National Organization Advancement of Colored People, NAACP, is a Jewish organization for black people. Right? So when the ADL comes, the Anti-Defamation League comes out and says, Kyrie, Dave Chappelle, Kanye, we got a problem with what you're saying. Because now it's a political organization that's saying we represent Jews. How they gonna get paid? How they gonna keep getting their 6 figures and they 7 figures and they 8 figures if they not running around policing what goes on with Jews? And they politicize it, but we're playing football Sunday. This is a form of martial arts where they took all the martial arts together to dismantle your body. If you playing games over there, because that's their homeland that they created, built a fortress, and said this is where our homeland. This is Israel. Now go over to Israel and bring these issues that these so-called Jews is talking about, and I guarantee the people of Israel are saying, we don't even respect them. Kyrie never spoke hate. That's my point. Kyrie has never spoke hate, but people who are paid to call you anti-Semite, they're paid, they are motivated to expose you like they're doing a good job because they have political positions. They have to run to every call of a so-called Jew who doesn't wear yarmulke, who doesn't go to synagogue, who doesn't practice the Jewish traditions, who doesn't even raise their children to even be conservative. Our people will continue to die due to a lack of knowledge. We don't even make it cool to learn. That shit is scary, bro.
I mean, like the Minister Farrakhan said, he was just looking for knowledge.
We don't know what he was doing. What we do know is if you follow Kyrie Irving and you listen to what he's saying, his daddy, his uncles are knowledgeable, aware people who have knowledge of self. And when things are not popular, it's disturbing. It's so disturbing that blacks don't like to empower blacks. That's how disturbing it is. Blacks don't even vote unless somebody forced them to vote. Blacks will not even help you with your bags to help empower you. They rather hate on you. And they don't understand that they were programmed to think this way. Race is a myth, man. It's for extremely rich white people to make poor white people feel privileged and okay with working for them, the extremely rich white people, without revolting against them. Because they could always say, you ain't got a badge, you got a nigga. And they'll go, he's right. I live in the suburbs. I live in my own community. I'm a part of this. I'm a part of that. I'm not like them. They gonna keep getting multi-hundreds of millions and billions of dollars, bro. So, your man LeBron, who's starting to go towards the $1 billion range, who's starting to rub shoulders with the elite of the world, those same small white men.
They posted a video of him with a rich Jewish person.
I don't even know what somebody's religion even matters. That's, my awareness is not going to allow me to differentiate somebody because they have a religion. He's a Jewish person. What does that mean? It's automatically he's powerful and he's conspiring. I'm going to subscribe to that.
Yeah, well, that's what people are saying.
Because they stupid.
Yeah.
And I never heard a stupid person say they stupid.
Do you think the same thing they did at Kyrie is the same thing they did with Nick Cannon? People are comparing that too.
Well, I believe, once again, that people who are motivated to keep you oppressed, motivated by political positions, in the name of defending certain people who we yet to have identified who these people are, you just keep saying the Jews and Jewish people. That's a religion, to my understanding. So non-religious people who are telling me they're defending the religion and saying that somebody's anti-Semite, when I know that overall this world has been taught that niggas need to stay in their place. And with Nick Cannon, which was a beautiful situation because coming out of that situation opened his eyes to ownership. And he came right back on another network and he's making way more money than he was making before as an employee.
Yeah, he didn't even know. He didn't own it until the situation happened.
So now they shut him down. And in my opinion, as a boss, workers get out of line. You got to keep them in line. You don't fire. I don't fire you. You fire yourself. This is what I need you to do. This is and you want to go beyond that, you have to be reminded you're a worker. So I don't even know how much anti-Semitism got into the situation. I just know that there are a lot of people who are paid to call you an anti-Semite if you say anything about Jews. And if blacks, we can say it a million times till we blow in the face. There's no race that's allowed to degrade their own race. If whites started making records and movies talking about cracker, spick, kike, wop, raghead, they don't do that to each other because they're not rewarded to do it.
I did see a white person call another white person a redneck before.
Okay, but you don't see them rewarded for doing it.
Yeah.
You don't see them going up into Hollywood and ladder, and you don't see them rewarded like blacks get rewarded for shitting on blacks. So how dare you say, as a black person, I'm going to make rules on my own? Diddy talk that shit, but he gonna come back and make contracts and agreements with these white folks, and he don't get radicalized. The closest we've seen to a free man in the last 20 years is Suge Knight and Kanye West.
You think Kanye's a free man right now?
I think Kanye off the meds is one person, and Kanye on the meds is another person. Right now, he's off his meds. That's my opinion. I don't wake up with him. I never even met him personally. But when I do, I would love to have a conversation with him, smack the shit out of him, and then hug him.
Well, right now he's saying that Jewish people should forgive Hitler.
It's contextual. What he's saying that everybody's missing is, as a Christian, I must forgive everyone. You know what everyone means?
Yeah, no matter what, you gotta forgive everybody.
So if I'm trying to be as most Christ-like, that's everyone. The one that killed my brother, the one that shot my mother in the face, that I have to forgive because this is what the law that I live by states. All he's saying in all the wrong ways is I'm working towards being a super Christian. His first, greatest, biggest hit on every radio, the first one from the first album, Jesus Walks.
I don't know. Charleston White, if you take the sparkle and the wordplay away, he makes sense a little bit.
Sometimes all fools make sense because they talking to other fools. When they talking to people on higher frequency levels, people who have knowledge of self, or people who is just well read, it doesn't make sense.
So he's
Some
pretty
things
much
are
the
logical,
same thing
right?
you said, where hip hop is destruction. So
Okay.
he does make sense sometimes.
It depends on the dynamics, okay?
Yeah.
I just told you, sometimes fools make sense. Depends on who they talking to.
Yeah. Well, it depends what he's saying too, what he's talking about.
I agree. Because if he takes my words and regurgitates them, spit them out, he's going to sound like a genius.
Well, he did say he does all that because that's the only way people started listening. The way the wordplay and
How did I start this off?
because when
He's
he first
using triggering words to get people's attention to respond, decide if they hate him, he stays in the media.
Well, he has a message that he's trying to put out there, and nobody was listening to it before it, so that's why he does it the way he does it now.
The hate lasts longer. The hate is going to give me more publicity than the love. The people who hate you think about you all the time, talk about you all the time, you always on their mind. People that love you take it for granted.
That is true.
So Trump used triggering words, who was fed to him by Bannon. Kanye is saying Trump did it, I can do it. Because Kanye is delusional. He's ill-advised, which is another thing. And this is why Takeoff gets murdered. Because when you become a brand, once you reach over $1 million, you're supposed to have mentors, advisors, and a board of directors. Directors direct you, right? But what happens with many people, it ain't just blacks. There's a whole bunch of rednecks that make money and self-destruct. A whole bunch of them. Brett Favre. So,
nobody's talking about Brett Favre either.
Self-destructing. But nobody's holding them accountable. Nobody's coming out. Fine. So now, what happens is, you start letting your ego do the talking. And there's no one to say, you're bugging. You don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, because if they do say something, they're going to kick you out the camp.
You fired.
Yeah.
So you're buffing around yes men. What I find is individuals like the baby, little baby, and advisors know how to deal with conflict, know when to pull themselves together, know when to represent themselves as real men. I don't see anybody, like I told you, the Kardashians are not used to hearing no ever. They can almost literally do anything. He is in the Kardashian camp for the rest of his life, whether you like it or not. Either they're going to drug him, either they're going to give him a terminal illness, or somebody's going to kill him. Kanye. That is the direction of all major black men who makes an impact on culture. You name them, and I'm going to show you A, he was murdered. B, he got an illness. C, he died young. He was incarcerated. Or he married a white woman.
What's wrong with marrying a white woman?
I didn't say nothing wrong with marrying a white woman. But you're non-threatening. It's like you want to be one of us when you Michael Jordan and you marry a white woman.
I don't know about that. That might be a stretch.
Stretch it if you want to stretch it. I know when you with another black woman and y'all black family supporting black love and people are admiring and watching you and mimicking you, and that's creating more families because they idolize you and they may stick with their wife longer because their wife look like your wife, I know that has an impact.
Different.
It's called,
it's the way people grow up.
It's called being an influencer. That's what it's called. Black love is very powerful.
I agree. Okay. Well, let's talk about Balenciaga.
Balenciaga.
You heard about the situation, and people are mad because let's talk about Kim Kardashian. She's, I guess, a brand ambassador of Balenciaga.
Kim Kardashian.
Yeah, and she's not.
My baby.
She's not going against them.
Why would she?
They came out with an apology. Pretty much.
Why would she care? Let's put our minds if we could even imagine.
She has kids. Why wouldn't she care?
There's pedophiles everywhere. But we just gonna get upset at some pedophiles or all pedophiles?
Oh.
We're gonna get upset at all the guys who were in their 20s but was courting people in their teens and then got married when she became an adult. We're gonna pull them out of the closet too. We're gonna hold them accountable because that's pedophilia too.
Yeah.
We're gonna lock up all the women, all the cougars that's sleeping with teenagers. We're gonna lock all of them up too. What we gonna do? What we fake caring about this week? Because I don't know in my mind, right? With the bills that I got, the issues that I got, and how far behind I am in life and where I'm trying to go. How do y'all have so much time to be so caught up in stuff that don't directly impact you? Here is a designer who created a product. Me and you come out today, we're going to pick up a shirt, clothing line brand called For the Culture. It takes off, right? I believe and promote polygamy. I like to have sex a certain way. That's not common, right? It's not according to the Christian conservative structure, ideology, or paradigm, right? I like to freak off a little different, right? But I design some great clothes, right? What does one have to do with the other? Married people don't cheat?
Yeah, but the
Hold
person
up, stop. What's your point?
He's up.
You never
he's
watched
a higher
Scandal?
Up. He's a higher
You never
up.
watched Scandal? Did you watch Scandal?
Yeah.
Did you tune in every week?
No.
You guilty of that shit. You guilty. It's your fault why he feel he could do that. Because you was watching Scandal. You and everybody else that love, the drama.
I didn't watch it every week.
It's so juicy. That's what made the sex better. My point is, what that got to do with how he performed in basketball.
Well,
Where he made his error is what most guys do, right? I'm balling. My jump off that I pay attention to, my girl that I have paid attention to, broke dude gets her attention. Broke dude smash her and think me and him is on the same level because we smashing the same chick. You really thought you were competing against me because she was giving you time because I'm distracted running my business and my own. What Balenciaga, how the owners conduct themselves in their private life have to do with you. What do one got to do with the other?
There's a difference though.
What?
There's a difference.
I got about 200 pair of Nikes. I wish a Negro would tell me to go burn my sneakers because they mad at a designer that they don't know. If we're going to have a problem with oppression, let's have a problem with all oppression. Sexual oppression, social oppression, racial oppression, financial oppression, because it won't stop. You will have your whole life consumed trying to make what's wrong right. It ain't going to happen. You're going to die and people ain't going to care about you. The culture ain't going to feed your family. The culture ain't going to pay your bills. The culture is going to say, Colin Kaepernick should have never sat down on his knee. Because we're not really going to support you, Colin. We're not going to go to your Cash App and help you out. The culture ain't going to say Bill Cosby is under attack because he's trying to get ownership for the culture. Culture's not going to say that.
That's what Kanye said.
They're going to allow, the culture is going to allow allegations from 42 years ago to convict a man today. Where you was at this whole 42 years? It's not until somebody who's rich, who feel threatened about you taking away their power, manipulating you to put you away. That's what the culture do. The culture would tell Deion Sanders, you selling out. Meanwhile, he got a whole staff that's underpaid. We're going to make this move over here because this is business. I don't know what you're talking about. I did more for this team than it ever happened in history. But that's what the culture do.
He did more for that whole culture. Period.
That whole state.
Yeah. Jackson State.
And the culture who go to work every day, who's broke, who spend money they don't have on things they don't need to impress people they don't know and don't care about them and will never love them. That's the culture. It's trying to tell Deion Sanders what to do. You gonna tell me not to wear Balenciaga? Why did I wear it in the first place? But everybody that got a problem with Balenciaga better be having some black-owned sneakers on their feet. And they don't. These Negroes don't even drink black-owned liquor. They will make Hennessy rich forever instead of go get Douce or De Leon.
Jay-Z's actually trying to get full ownership of Douce.
Yeah, because they robbing them. You heard about that?
Yeah. That's why he hired somebody to check the numbers.
Come on, man. Why should he have to check the numbers? You get on, right? You get on. Kanye's showing you this. You get on through these people that's already in position. You learn what they learn, and you bring it back home to yourself. You don't need them, Hov. You don't need them. You've been around long enough. Go do your own thing. But because we hate each other, it's too fearful to get under or get off master's field. It's too scary. It's too scary.
It's a big risk.
The risk is, instead of living in 32,000 square foot house, you move to a 10,000 square foot house because you can only occupy one room at a time. But we get these competitiveness, like I said in the beginning. We get competitive and we keep comparing ourselves to other cultures instead of redefining what our own culture is. Hov, go buy 100 acres of land, put a fence around it, and go build your own community and stop begging for these people's approval. You've been in the game too long for that. Go create your own liquor, sell it direct to consumer. This is the internet age. I can make the order, click, do say come to my door, boom. That's it. What are we doing?
Nike cut ties with Kyrie too.
Phil Knight is another one. Y'all keep getting mad at masters that own slaves who work on the field. I like Nike because they hire black people, design things that appeal to my psychology and makes me feel better when I put them on. I don't got Nikes on my feet. I got a brand on my feet that white people wear that black people don't even wear. And if you bring me a black designer that's getting molds done for every shoe in every size, show me a black designer that got a shoe that got a half size. Because for every shoe that's made, every size that's made, is a different mold that have to be made. That's more money that have to be spent. That means you care about your product and quality has to go into that. You show me that and it's quality, I'm buying it. But I'm not buying Balenciaga. Period. Because I don't like to spend money I don't have on things I don't need to impress people I don't know. I like nice shit because I got a standard. But that don't mean I'm not going to go into Ross or Burlington and pick up a $10 shirt and still make it look good. Because if you go in a club with $300,000 worth of jewelry and I go in a club with painting uniform on, I'm going to still bag your girl. I'm going to still take your girl. Because I don't need all that to speak for me. Because I have knowledge of self, I have awareness of who I am, and one thing women love is confidence in a man that has direction.
And that's funny.
You running around trying to pick up brands and follow brands and trends and all that, cancel them. Cancel them. That's what y'all want to hear?
Yeah.
Cancel them.
That's what people want to hear. For
what? They can't afford it anyway. The majority of these people that's streaming about it can't afford these little funny-duddy slippers that people wearing.
Well,
socks. Oh, that's what they are. They're socks with rubber soles on the bottom.
Actually, they could afford it, but they're spending money not wisely. They rather.
How can you afford it?
Because I was just watching the other day how this girl's homeless, but she has a bed. So people like to spend their money on things that
they can't afford it, brother. They could pay the payments.
There you go. Okay, you got a good point.
I could get a Bentley tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'll make the payments every month.
But you can't afford it.
But I can't afford it.
Yeah, okay, you got a good point.
When you in your house sweating, because you concerned about where you park the car, you don't need that car, bro. You don't need that car. When you say to yourself, if somebody crashes into me, I'm going to jail. You don't need to drive that car. You don't need that car.
Okay, but people buy Balenciaga, but they don't need it. And they're struggling.
How many of the population is dumb versus smart? Let's use a word. Let's use higher frequency words.
Low frequency, higher frequency.
How many people in your population, in your experience or the day-to-day travel, you think is aware versus those who are aware? Percentile-wise. How many would you say is aware?
That's a good question. I'm not sure.
1 out of 20 maybe is aware.
You think one, that's it?
Maybe 1 out of 100 is aware, has a sense of awareness, has a sense of saying, because here's the thing, right? This is what I know about street money. The more you make, the more nervous you get, and the more people you don't want to know that you have the money. Right? So, name 3 black billionaires. If you can't name 3 black billionaires, we're in a sad state.
3 black billionaires.
Name 3 of them.
Don't look it up.
You Googling this?
Don't look it up.
Jesus Lord, we are in trouble. Let me help you out. Robert Frederick Smith, Jay-Z, LeBron James. Is LeBron a billionaire now?
Well, Kanye was a billionaire. Now he lost his
Okay, let's throw him in there. How many of them you see iced out?
Michael Lee Chin.
Michael Lee Chin, Jamaican.
Robert L. Johnson.
Yep, Robert Johnson.
You said Robert Smith already.
BET, Robert Frederick Smith.
Mike Duga?
African, right? Nigerian, yeah.
And
I'm talking about that you know, that popular culture is aware of.
oh, then The two people in my top of my head, to be honest, would be Jay-Z and Kanye West. But Kanye West is not.
Beyonce, Rihanna.
Yeah. Beyonce,
Right?
Rihanna,
Oprah. It's a shame, brother. Stop.
I'm forgetting somebody.
Your punishment is you can't have Instagram for the rest of the week. You need to stick to Google. So, how many of them you see iced out? How many of them you see wearing Balenciaga that don't have a contract with them? How many of them you see promoting brands that they don't own or don't have contract with? None of them. It would be amazing to find Hov and Beyonce with diamonds unless somebody gave it to them.
I don't think I even seen Hov doing the whole bling bling thing.
When he was a broke nigga, he had so much gold chains on, gold teeth, and all that. When he realized that money is a tool, and the more of it that I use to work for me is the more of it I get back. So the money that I'm going to waste on this trash, if I'm investing in it, more comes back, is the more you stop buying bullshit. So what else you want to know about Balenciaga?
So we need to stop buying the bullshit.
No, we need to stop spending money we don't have on things we don't need to impress people we don't know and who don't care about us. Because I've been to the baddies' houses. I've been to the baddest broad house, and her mattresses is on the floor. And I leave. After I nut, but I ain't going back. How you don't invest in a mattress? Black people, you really want to flex? You really want to flex on somebody? Make sure you spend about $5,000 on your mattress because a third of your life will be spent on it. And that mattress is what's going to rejuvenate you to get up the next day to go get that bag. Because let me tell you something. A bed is not a bed. A car is not a car. When you get in that $5,000 mattress, whoo, you're going to learn a whole new name for sleep.
Sleeping better.
Come on, baby girl. You got 8,000 Balenciagas, but your mattress got you sinking in the middle like this. Come on, black people, let's put it together.
That's what Zach Tate said. It just hits different when you get busy.
You got to get knee surgery because you trying to hit it and your knee getting cartilage, getting toe up on that dumbass mattress that you went and spent $800 on. Come on, man.
Oh boy.
Got an $800 mattress and a $3,000 Balenciaga shirt.
Did you see or hear about the situation with Draymond Green and Jordan Poole?
Yes.
And if you was Jordan Poole, what would you do, or would you still be his teammate?
I believe that whatever is in you must come out, and people could only give you what they have, and it's not a good way for men to say that they are not aggressive men. So on a higher developed level, I would say that sports is a high testosterone environment. Tempers flare, emotions get in. As a man, you should be able to take a loss, especially if you get into a physical altercation. And NBA has a long history. No, all sports has a long history of players on the same team handling their differences in the locker room. So what I would say is, Poole, just hold that eye and hold it down. You know what I mean? Because if you was a fighter, we wouldn't be having this conversation. You would have.
Yeah, his business.
You would have. You don't let nobody walk up on you. Period.
Maybe he thought he was gonna give him a hug.
I don't care what you doing. I'm gonna catch the case and say, my bad after. You're not walking up on me. I don't care who you are. Don't walk up on me. I don't care who you are. Been arrested 9 times. Every time a cop came close, I had an assaulting officer on it. I'm not bragging. I'm not proud of it. Just don't walk up on me. There are rules that men know. Men know rules of engagement. You know not to get in nobody's face like that unless you coming to do harm. I just don't know it, right? I don't know, like the Will Smith smack. I just never seen nobody in my life lean forward when somebody was approaching like that. So, rules of engagement. You don't put your hands on nobody. And as a teammate, one of the issues that we have in society is that we let the weak survive. And then the weak start dictating. And then we start having cancel culture. And then we have to label LBQ, LBG. We have to label, right? Instead of saying I'm free, I do me, it don't cause you no harm, mind your business. We don't do that. You understand what I'm saying? So in the process of us engaging in our day-to-day, we allow people who hide behind comments and keyboards to find other people who are weak, and together they send out these messages. And they attack people just because they are attacking themselves every day. So they have to label, and they have to hate, and they have to come down on how do you care who has sex with who and how they have sex? How does that matter? I don't get it. How do you care about how individual expresses himself of what he wears or how he goes to work, and like distractions? Average minds discuss events. Advanced minds discuss ideas. Ignorant minds discuss people. What's going on with other people? When you go to the supermarket, there's a rack full of paparazzi and gossip columns about other people because it appeals to people who go to the supermarket. Elite and advanced people don't go to the supermarket. We send help to go get our groceries. Ain't nobody going to no supermarket. Go ahead. Why do you think when these shows they ask athletes and superstars, do you know how much a carton of milk costs? No, you don't, because your help goes to the supermarket. So who are these tabloids appealing to? Ignorant minds, people that don't think and don't read and don't try to develop higher. Then the average person, they talk about events. Did you hear about that? Did you hear about this? Advanced minds talk about ideas. What about this app we could create? What about
start
this?
a business together?
How are we going to or just handling business, or even asking you, are you handling your business? Come see me. Let's sit down and talk about where you want to go in the next 5 years and how I can help you. Let me share with you what I learned. What is it that you don't know? What is it that we both don't know? Why don't we meet together on Sunday and discuss that? Oh, well, you mind if I bring this? The next thing you know, we have a group of people discussing ideas. But you want to be dumb if you in the mirror and your head is going in every direction. You in the mirror every day talking about you that nigga. Yeah, that apply to you. Because what happens is this, right? Ignorant people don't realize there's a whole world out there. I just came back from the Grand Canyon. I'm looking at this massive structure of how the world is designed in so many magical and fascinating ways that you could get consumed. It's like being under the influence of a drug, seeing this magnificence. And I'm like, damn, at one time in my life, I'd kill somebody for $25,000 when all this was out here. All this was out here? There's somebody on the corner getting ready to kill a dude over his girl. Been there too, same thing.
Or a street you don't own.
Street you don't own, block you don't own, or reputation, or because someone insulted you. You don't have life insurance, but you got a $1,000 gun. So what happens is when you ignorant and you in that niggerish mind state, because that's what it means, ignorant state of ignorance. It's not race appropriated. We just made it that through hip hop and our culture. But when you in that mindset, you think of your world being so small. But there's a whole world out there, man. Left there, went to Sedonia. Outside, you're seeing stars that you will never see on this side of the country. Then I went to Vegas. Looking at dudes gambling with hundreds of thousands of dollars.
They say traveling is key to life.
Yeah, man. It's so much so, right, that instead of getting a big house and multiple cars, I'd rather just have a traveling account. Like, instead of spending an extra 10 on this car, I'd rather spend 10 for this trip to Africa and back. I'll spend another 10 to this part of Europe, another 10 on this part to Asia. I'd rather do that because what you learn about yourself and how there's right now all over the world, there are a whole different worlds going on. And you here miserable, ready to throw your life away, where if you get on a plane, you live a whole different life. My brother in Dubai, he's stuck in Dubai, he deported. Had a murder conviction here, he had to go to Dubai, live in Dubai. So he's like, bro, just come, bro. You get a job in 2 days because you speak English. I'm like, yo, it's the whole world, man. He's like, yo, you know, we got Bentley taxis out here.
I'm not surprised, but they don't play over there too when it comes to law.
So what? Good for me. I ain't trying to break nothing. I'm really not trying to lay in nobody's jail ever again and not lay next to some titties and ass every night. I'm not trying to do that. I'm just me.
Some people like that.
Right, because, you know, that's another conversation. Prisons and jail are their surrogate parents. Dudes don't get arrested, they get rescued. They know they got 3 hots, a cot, and they got somebody telling them what to do. They ain't got to do a lot of thinking.
Breakfast, lunch, dinner.
And they can cry to the whole family and be irresponsible and still get taken care of. Millions of people like that. It's called welfare. It's called military. It's called... A lot of people like to be told what to do, get their hots in their cot, get pacified, and have to be removed from their responsibility. Institutions do it. Military, it's an institution. And some marriages. We know a whole bunch of successful men and women who married the deadbeats. Like, you just good for nothing. Like, yo, I've been married 20 years. You never had a job. I never seen you with a job. And they all right with it. And I'm not making a judgment. If it worked for them, to work for them. I'm just calling it what it is.
Well, before we wrap it up, you made a prediction on Tory Lanez, Casanova. Not Tory Lanez, Young Thug, Casanova. What do you think is going to happen to Tory Lanez in the case with Megan?
Megan's girlfriend shot her.
Megan said it was Tory.
I know she says Tory. When it's time for trial, she's going to say something different. Or they're going to have to dismiss her testimony. Or somebody, whoever was gassing her up to make the statements, is going to convince her not to come to court.
So that's your prediction? Tory gets free?
He gets liberty. No conviction, no nothing. They're going to throw the case out. So, in the movie Harlem Nights, there's a scene where Monique, the comedian, and I believe it's Eddie Murphy.
Is it Eddie Murphy?
That they are in a little conflict. And he pulls out a gun and say, dance, bitch, or something, and shoots her in the foot. Right? So in my mind, this has nothing to do with reality, but in my mind, they was playing around, drunk, high, bugging out. He pulled the gun out, started beefing, shot it, went in her foot, but it wasn't him. It was the girlfriend playing around. And unfortunately, my man, the baby, was talking about how he was blazing her the night before. So I don't know what conflict they had. I don't know what went on, but it's obvious that when a woman cheats, she's already cheated mentally. she already left the relationship.
Oh yeah, mentally, yeah, of course. I agree with
She
that.
left
Yeah.
the relationship, right? Unless she just likes variety, and that's okay too, if she lets it be known, in my opinion, right? But since they cheat the best, they allowed a little more leeway, right? Because all they have to do is create a little doubt in stupid men's mind, and I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm just saying you didn't see me. You confused me with something, and the dude would be like, "Yeah, maybe," So for you to tell the public the same thing, and Tory is saying, "I'm not saying nothing because I was told not to say nothing," because his lawyers know what they have. It's called discovery. They have to produce what they're bringing to trial, who the witnesses are. All the witnesses make statements, and they know how to find the holes and match this up to not be true. It usually takes 2 to 3 years. If you're smart, like I said in the YSL case, Young Thug is used to jail. He's supposed to cross his feet up on the table, put his hands back, and tell his lawyer, string this out for about 4 years. Because witnesses stop being motivated to come to trial. The people they paying, because they have paid informants, and they have what they call crime victims fund, that they make witnesses get checks, and they will come to court to testify. But after 3-4 years, the witnesses lose interest, stop forgetting facts. The case dies down in the public. People even forgot what happened because they don't have attention span. And you take it to trial. And it's going to be Megan Thee Stallion against this one. Megan Thee Stallion don't even want that type of smoke right now to even jeopardize her reputation. It's amazing that she even has a career. She's not that good, but it's all right. She makes songs. People are distracted. They're ignorant. They're on lower frequency. It doesn't even matter. Stay tuned for my rap record that's coming out soon. It's called Happy Hour. Make sure you download it. So,
if you happy and you know it,
I ain't going that far, bro. So this is what I'm saying. That's my prediction. With the YSL, Meg Thee Stallion, he's good. There's somebody else got a major case going on. I'm still waiting for them to release R. Kelly though, so I could be wrong.
I don't know about that one.
I believe I can fly.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Great Zach Tate, is there any way you want to promote anything you want to let people know? I know you got the Zoe bags.
www.greatzachtate.com. All forms of social media, greatzachtate.com. I don't care about your hateful comments. Miserable, go kill yourself. I'm really not going to give you that much attention. Do your best to vote for me to get on the Breakfast Club. They looking for somebody right now, even though I know they're going to get a female.
Oh, for the co-host?
Yeah.
For Angela E.
Co-host. So, that's where you find me at. I am single-handedly on a mission to end all gun violence in America. Black-on-black gun violence. I have the solution. I have the answer. If anybody has influence with those who are in political positions and they looking for a campaign to join so that we can put an end to gun violence, get in touch with me. Great Zach Tate on all platforms. Thank y'all for your time.
Perfect. Thank you. For the culture.
For the culture. For the culture!
Get it.
For the culture.